Okay, we're on.
Awesome.
It's like episode 4 or 5. You know what? I'll have it in the description. What episode? It's been such a long time.
Wait, I think it's episode 5, isn't
I
it?
believe it's episode 5 because last time we did King Ghidorah, then before that it was Mothra, before that was Anguirus, and
We did King Kong as
You've
well.
uploaded
King
all of them
Kong.
by now, right?
Yeah, so I think this is episode 5. There
1,
we
2,
go.
3. Yes, it's 5.
Okay.
Ha! It's vindication. I can count.
And
the
a
system works.
And of course, I gotta give the audience what you guys already heard, the current monster of this episode, which they would just heard now, and they're probably going, "What the hell is that thing?" Like you guys were going on
that we
about.
actually did twice, because we did the first time you heard us, and then we did today after we'd forgotten what it was.
And there was one other thing I wanted to do before people put their guests down for that monster, because today's a special occasion.
It is?
It is. It's someone's birthday.
Oh, is Godzilla turning 100 and whatever the fuck?
Well, he's not turning 100, and I just realized I haven't been showing you guys.
Oh, you have not been sharing this.
Which I am. I just cannot get you guys.
Yeah, I've just been staring at Discord and going, okay,
into
I guess we're going blind
nothingness,
for this.
into the void. There we go. You guys can see what the audience has been seeing on YouTube.
Oh, it's the 70th birthday
It's the
of Godzilla?
70th birthday. The first Godzilla movie came out November 3rd. I did not know it was November 3rd.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why November 3rd? That's so random.
It just really.
Why did any movie come out on any date?
Well, they often put Christmas movies during Halloween, oddly enough. They release... You know what?
Don't piss me off more. I'm already pissed off at every store in this country. Don't...
I mean,
I know, right?
But it dropped 1954, so Godzilla officially turned 70 years old today.
Okay, so I actually was close with the turning some age thing.
Yeah.
Okay, just it wasn't 100 and something.
No, it's 70. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, no, I was going for the in-universe monster joke where Godzilla... How would Godzilla be monster-wise in the universe? Like
in the Showa era or in the current legendary era?
Well, like either one actually, because like in the Showa era, isn't he... Was he the dinosaur that got mutated, or is that a different era?
So there's debate. In the Showa era, in the Heisei era, which is what you're referring to, is the one where they reference him being a dinosaur that got mutated. In the Showa era, they allude to the fact that he resembled a dinosaur and he more than likely got mutated, but they never directly show it. The Heisei era, they directly show it during the Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah movie. In the Showa era, they never directly show like what dinosaur. Well, I think they show it in like a picture, but they don't ever directly show the actual dinosaur before it was mutated, essentially.
Yeah. So I guess the age is a bit ambiguous. And then legendary, he's been old for ages.
Yeah, no, he's been around for like what, thousands of years.
Right? Yeah, like. Okay, I guess it doesn't matter. Just like it was an interesting thought when I thought about it. To be fair, like in the dinosaur one, we don't actually know how old the dinosaur was. Like, did they ever really mention that dinosaur was something that survived millions of years, or did it just like dinosaur that hadn't died out yet?
So, okay, so that's the thing with some of the monsters. They do, like, for example, Rodan, the flying bird, one of the monsters we haven't got to yet. It's they straight up say it's a dinosaur that got mutated by the atomic bomb and hydrogen bombs, and the radiation made it much larger. So for all we know, it could and don't forget Manila, the son of Godzilla in the Showa era, again another monster we haven't got to. He also hatched from an absurdly large egg. So it's very possible that the Godzilla that we see running around in the Showa era just hatched from an egg, and just grew really, really, really big.
Makes sense.
And
Just say, is it weird to anyone else that Godzilla hatches from an egg?
I mean, he gotta come from somewhere.
Like, I know, but it's just like, would you think an egg?
Would you rather it be from an iguana?
Yeah, good point. Still.
We remember where that little song and dance went.
Yeah, good point.
We'll get to that movie too in time.
We're gonna get to that movie?
We gotta get to all of the stuff eventually.
Why?
If we're going in the era of the timeline, it's gonna go Showa era, Heisei era, Millennium. I think technically Final Wars is its own separate category, and then but technically we gotta throw in the 2000 Godzilla. So yeah.
Why? That's more like, can't we just pretend that was a mistake and pretend it never happened?
We can't, because
all of America wanted to do.
It's officially a Toho monster now. Plus, it gave us one of the best Godzilla cartoon series.
Fair enough.
So we gotta get to it somehow. But we also gotta get to the monster of the week, which you guys, which you, Alchemist, did finally get, which was Hedorah.
Is it Hedorah or Hedorah?
I've heard it pronounced both ways. I've used to pronounce it Hedorah. I think I hear it in the actual movie as Hedorah. So it goes by I usually called it by its nickname. So one of its nicknames, the one I refer to it as, the Smog Monster. Okay. It's also these other two nicknames I didn't get. The Tribohemian Monster. I may be butchering that. Let me give you guys that in Discord. Triphibian. Thank you, Zed. Triphibian Monster and the Ninja Monster.
The Ninja Monster.
The Ninja Monster. I have no idea where that name came from.
Why? Because it's mostly black?
I mean, I would call that I definitely would. Oh yeah, let's not get into that race thing about all ninjas are technically black people.
Oh God, really? You couldn't just forget that, Scott, man?
You brought that back up.
Oh God.
Yeah. So the only thing I know from the Ninja Monster thing is one of the subtitles. Apparently, the Japanese Godzilla vs. Hedorah trailer reference, the subtitle of that trailer referred to Hedorah as the Ninja Monster.
Okay.
So yeah, go figure. I did not see that one coming.
Because the monster does not look very stealth.
No, it does not. In terms of stats, it's a 10 meters taller of Godzilla, so it's 60 meters tall in its perfect final form. Its length is about 40 meters when it's in its flight form, and its weight is 48,000 metric tons, and that's in its final form.
I'm sorry, wait, back up.
Yes.
It has a flight form?
Yes. So this thing, which
I do not remember it flying.
Which fills into the Triphibians, because they gave it that name, the Triphibian monster, because it goes from sea, land, and air. It goes through each. It can go through each landscape. It can swim, it can fly, and it can walk on land.
Okay.
And I'll actually get that. Let me get some. Since we got into that, let me actually get the life stages up in here, and get some other pictures as well for our YouTube audience. But so.
Okay, now I'm questioning if I actually saw this movie.
I don't think you have seen this movie now.
I do not remember it flying. Did I see this movie? Maybe I only saw the end of it.
I would think you see.
I don't know. Like, there's a chance. For all we know, I saw a poster of it when I was like 7, and now that's what I'm remembering. Because that's how my memory works.
So,
Did I see this movie?
well, you should be seeing what it looked like now on screen. So,
No,
upper
that's
left,
why I'm looking. I'm like, did I see this?
so in the upper left-hand corner, you got it in this tadpole form. That's the smallest form it takes. That particular one is, I think, one that broke off from the larger one. The images you see on the right-hand side for the people on YouTube, the images where it got a giant blob essentially sticking their head out of the water. That's it in its aquatic form. And then you got the one to the far right looking like a flying saucer. That's with 2 giant red eyes on it. That's it, flight form. And then the one on the bottom, that's just a form of it when it first touched land before it get to its perfect form. And let's see if we got a picture of its perfect form that we can throw out real fast.
I do not remember any of these.
And oh wow, Augment just having a crisis of memory right now.
Did I actually see this movie? I feel like I saw this movie.
Okay, that's what it
Okay,
looked like.
that I remember.
You
I
remember that?
remember
Okay.
that. I remember that because my question was, what was with the big ass, like, why?
Why
There's
what?
so many questions.
Okay, well let me elaborate. So Hedorah is an alien life form from the dark gaseous nebula in the Orion constellation. It landed on Earth, traveling on a comet at least 243 light years. The Godzilla movie studio tour expands and give a little bit more information, saying that Hedorah is composed of space minerals called hedoriums, of course. And basically that mineral, that space mineral hedorium, fused with the pollutant and basically allowed it to start evolving. They do say a little bit of that in the movie. They just don't name what the element is.
Okay.
Hedorah, contrary to how freaky it look, it's not really malicious to start off. It's more of just a creature trying to survive. But as it starts to evolve into its final form, which is the one you're currently seeing, it's where it's walking on 2 feet, it starts to become a little bit more malicious. Surprisingly enough, it does have a pretty high body count in the movie.
I could see that.
And yeah, it's a very trippy monster. A very trippy film. I just saw the film again today as well to get refreshed on everything, and it's
Maybe I only saw the end of this movie.
maybe. For those of you listening on Spotify, basically it goes through several life cycle. If you were looking on YouTube, you would see a picture of it with it full life cycle. The first one's very tiny, look like something under a microscope. That's pretty much the space minerals. The second life form is when it's a tadpole, a little, think no more than a frog tadpole. The second form is its aquatic form, which is what you kind of basically a much larger version of the tadpole, most slimier, no fins, and then the final form, basically just a larger the aquatic form, but it can go on land this time. It literally is a smog monster. It feeds off of pollutant, feed off of sludge, feed off of our trash, pretty much.
So he's a less fun version of Hexus from Fern Gully.
Which one?
Hexus from Fern Gully.
I've never seen that.
Oh God, am I the only one who knows what Fern Gully is? That's embarrassing.
Zed, have you heard that?
I want to say the name sounds familiar, but that's about it.
Oh, that's embarrassing. Well, I just dated myself.
Yeah, now I'm gonna look it up after this. What else? Abilities. Hedorah, it's composed of the mineral hedorium, and that's pretty much just fusing with all the pollution of the earth. So it's pretty much just an acidic sludge-like material at this point. It can launch pieces of itself at its opponent. It produced large amount of sludge on command. It can the sludge can either be acidic or it can just be used as just regular sludge to try to drown something, as it does to it try to smother Godzilla to death in its sludge.
Guessing that didn't work out that well.
Actually, it did work out pretty well.
Oh, really?
Rewatching this movie, I have to give it to Hedorah. It came dangerously close to. I think this was the monster to do the most damage to Godzilla before we get to some of the last monsters on the list of the Showa era.
Did this thing die by like massive amounts of electricity?
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, I think I just saw the end of this movie, and that's what I'm thinking of.
Because this thing straight up do maim Godzilla twice.
Yeah, because I remember that. I just don't remember anything in between. So I think
you only saw the ending fight. I think that's all you saw.
Yeah, I think that's all I saw. I'm just conflating it with other images of Godzilla. Because let's face it, who remembers the human parts? Except for the weird one with the mole people. That I remember.
Well, this one clearly. So, just to kind of give context, because I'm always saying this one have a body count. This one get pretty gruesome for a Godzilla Showa era.
Ha! Death by sludge. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's a way to die. So, needless to say, one of the other abilities it have is sulfuric acid mist. When it's in its flight form and it's flying around, it's expelling a bunch of gas to propel itself through the air, and that gas just happened to be sulfuric acid base.
Wow. Bitch move.
So you can imagine how high the body count get when it's flying over a major populated part of the city. Just spraying highly concentrated sulfuric acid that is strong enough to melt statues. Well, no, corrode statues on the spot.
No, that is pretty bad. Actually, brings up a question. Okay, so, I remember when watching the death battle Godzilla versus Gamera.
Yes.
They were talking about how Godzilla was so radioactive that any area he was just around basically became an irradiated wasteland from his presence, right?
Yes, that is shown more from the comic and more towards the Heisei era.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask, because that doesn't ever really seem to be in the case in a lot of these movies,
Not for
especially
sure.
the Showa era.
Not
okay,
for sure.
So,
wait, that was the case for the first Godzilla 1954, but they got rid of it.
Okay, make sure, but so that actually raised an interesting question though. What would be deadlier, Godzilla's radiation poisoning from the first movie, or this sludge thing?
This thing.
What would have the higher body count?
This thing.
Really? That
Yes.
Not even a question.
No.
Okay.
Because the radiation thing, you get radiation poisoning, which is bad. But they always because remember the 1954 Godzilla was an analogy to the atomic bombings. And the people who got infected by the radiation from the atomic bombing, while I'm not trying to downplay it was survivable. It was a very hard thing if you got infected with that radiation. But you could possibly live it. You could survive through it.
Yeah.
There wasn't the chance that
true.
you just, it wasn't like, well, you got this radiation, you're dead now. No, there was a chance you could survive depending on how much of a dosage of that radiation you got exposed to. Now, I'm not downplaying the fact you wouldn't get cancers and tumors and other horrible, debilitating health conditions from that. But
you'd still live.
You could live through that.
Yeah,
But-
this is more like the plague on steroids if the plague killed you in 5 minutes.
So to give context, when Hedorah flies over a area, because they show it flying over a bunch of kids working, exercising outside. As soon as it flies over, all the kids start passing out because they can't breathe. And then and that was just apparently a light misting, because as it flies over some of the lower and over more inhabited parts, the people, those skeletons that I'm showing on screen, they straight up just started to dissolve. So literally, you saw it. First, they fell over, couldn't breathe. Then they started to develop what looked like they got acidic burns on their face, and then eventually they just melted.
Yeah, okay, we gotta watch this movie.
Yeah. So and the sulfuric acid, it doesn't just quickly disperse, because a boy who ran upon this scene with all the skeletons, I didn't realize this at first. He covered his eyes and go, ouch. At first, I thought he was just reacting to the bodies, seeing bodies as a kid, as a child, and he was just going, ooh, that looked painful, ouch. No, he was going, ouch. The acid was still in the air, and it blinded him, because I didn't realize the next scene is his mom using water to wash the acid out of his eyes.
That sucks.
So I'm like, oh, geez, it really is that bad.
Damn, I've never gotten acid in my eyes before. I would imagine it would hurt.
And see, this is even worse argument, since we were just talking about things getting your eyes. Apparently, they talk about in that the sulfuric acid is very small, like small little particles.
It's making it hard to get out.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
But in this case, it's concentrated enough that if you're in that area, it melt you down to the bone.
Damn.
I don't know. Now, you're more of the chemist than I am. I'm pretty sure sulfuric acid, I know it tears up the skin, the flesh, and the muscle. I don't know if it would eat through bone.
I'm not gonna lie. Eating through bone
That's
is
pretty
very
tough. I know
difficult.
lye, I believe.
Yeah, lye is normally what's used, but even that, like, okay, so that's the thing. Bones are dense and they're layered, so it takes a lot to get through bones, and most of all, it takes time. That's why if you're gonna find anything of a dead body, it'll probably be bones, just because it's difficult. So, like, sulfuric acid, I guess, could technically eventually dissolve bone, but it would take a good long time.
I mean, this thing does eat oil and sulfur, so it's a walking pollutant plant, pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other abilities. Of course, it has a Hedorah ray, which is basically we gotta give it eye rays. Laser eyes. Of course, because everything needs laser eye
Yeah,
ability.
no, everything that's... on a side note, hydrofluoric acid is the acid that usually is the most corrosive to bones.
Okay.
Sulfuric, not as much. Don't get me wrong. Don't pour sulfuric acid on you to test this, but hydrofluoric acid is the more dangerous. And what is that?
Okay, so I did also, while I'm reading the stats, I wanted to give the actual anatomy of it. On the right, for those on the YouTube who are seeing it, on the right hand side is from the official Godzilla anatomy book. The other one on the left hand side are from other other side profiles that they did from other sources, and the translation I think was done by someone on Tumblr. So take that one with a grain of salt.
Anatomy?
Yes. So this also kind of confused me, because the movie implies that the whole thing is just one giant, slime ball.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought.
But the one on the right hand side is official.
Okay.
Other things to note. What other? It does have the ability of division and recombination. It is a hive mind organism. It does have multiple smaller pieces that were breaking off. Thus, the tadpole we saw in one of the images I had displayed. They actually do worry that pieces of it broke off and eventually it will come back one day at the end of the movie. It
I was gonna
also
say.
has evolutionary. It's one of the first monsters, one of the few monsters to evolve. By feeding on pollution, it grows stronger. It started off as a tadpole. It ate enough pollution in the water that it got.
Oh my god! So what you're saying is this is the final evolution of Grimer?
Yes. Oh man, this is Grimer's mega evolution. This is Muck's mega evolution right here.
Kill them all.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Is this where Pokemon started? Like, is this the whole thing? Was Grimer actually the first Pokemon?
Well,
No.
Are you sure?
Well,
are you absolutely
well,
positive
Zay, you
now?
have to
Because
admit it
the
is
evidence is
it's
here.
the original 150.
I am absolutely sure because there are 4 first Pokemon that exist.
But
I'm not so sure. I'm looking here.
So I am gonna say Hedorah, Hedoro, is Japanese for slime and ooze.
There you go. Pokemon has dinosaur Pokemon, so clearly this is primordial ooze Pokemon.
You know what?
Ah.
I will give it to you if I look up Muck's Japanese name and we see what it is.
I'm saying this is primordial ooze Pokemon. Then there's dinosaur Pokemon. Then there's the
Now,
modern Pokemon.
again, Hedorah is from space. There's nothing to imply that Grimer and Muck is from space.
Well, there's nothing to imply Pokemon are not from space.
Yes, there is a Pokédex entry. They say which Pokemon is from space and which one
To you,
isn't.
they
There's
specifically
actually
say.
Pokemon from space.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So.
Okay, well, Grimer's name has nothing to do with that, and neither does Muck's, so there we go.
Okay.
I win.
What do their names have to do with?
I don't know what their name... I mean, I see them here. I'm sure I'll mispronounce them. But I also don't think they have anything to do with this, so...
And again, we'll get on with Hedorah's other abilities. He's very durable since he is mostly acidic and a giant pack of slime. It pretty much he's really strong. You punch him, you hit him, doesn't really do much to him. He can just put himself back together eventually.
I guess.
Yeah, so even Godzilla Atomic Breath couldn't really dry him out all the way. So it couldn't do enough damage to him. It should also be noted that when Godzilla tried to punch him, he went straight through him, which was not good because remember his whole body is made of sulfuric acid. It burnt Godzilla so much that it burnt him down to the bone of his hand.
Damn.
Yes. I never saw this in the original until I started looking with a fine-tooth comb. Yes. Godzilla get burnt all the way down to his bone after punching this thing.
Okay, we need to see this movie.
Yeah, no, this thing straight up did come close. I would say this monster came very close to killing Godzilla.
All the things that survive it nearly gets killed by pollution.
Yes.
Isn't that saying something? So since Godzilla's supposed to be the representation of nuclear bombs, that basically saying you can fight radiation with toxic waste?
So, well, it's funny you should say that.
Oh, for heaven's sake!
It is funny you should bring that up because this whole movie, the whole Godzilla vs. Hedorah movie, is straight up is a don't pollute public service announcement.
That makes sense.
It's straight up like is hitting. It couldn't be any more of a PSA of don't pollute, unless it was a Captain Planet, cartoon. I mean, they are just straight up hitting you over the head with pollution is bad and people shouldn't pollute and you shouldn't and pollution is gonna kill us all and everything. I mean, they hit you over the head with it hard. So they are essentially saying that the pollution caused by just, and they're making clear that Hedorah is not absorbing radiation pollution. He's absorbing sulfuric. He's absorbing oil. He's absorbing acidics that get put into the oceans from factories. But they make it very clear he's not absorbing radiation for the most part.
Well, that's good for Godzilla. That's something he's got covered.
So in a way, yes, they're saying that you could make the argument that Hedorah, the monster of regular pollutant, is more of a threat to humanity than Godzilla, the embodiment of radioactive pollutant. And honestly, okay, this is really going into I'll do this briefly. Comparing the two between fossil fuels and a nuclear power plant technically produce less waste.
No, there's no technically about it. It definitely produces less
The
waste.
only reason I put the technical is because the waste it does produce take a long time to get rid of it.
Yeah, no, that's true. But like safety
But so
wise,
do the other things. So
yeah, no, like safety wise, like nuclear power is the better option. Just everybody's scared of it because of 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl.
yeah, Chernobyl kind of screwed us over in that regard.
Yeah, which Chernobyl, well, it's Russia. You know, what
yeah,
would you
no,
expect?
they were gonna screw that up.
And to be fair, 3 Mile Island was not as bad as it seemed. Yes, there was a malfunction, but that's the thing. The equipment did work. So if anything, it proved that our safety functions, while needing to be updated a bit, were actually functioning pretty well. Is that a cartoon?
Yes, that so the Godzilla vs. Hedorah, I did want to bring up that throughout the movie they are clipping in random little cartoon animations,
Okay, I definitely don't remember this.
which just fuels to how trippy this feels.
Okay, yeah, I must have only seen the end of this movie. Because I do not remember. I think I'd remember that.
You will remember that. Hedorah's only weakness being dried out, which is how they
Okay.
kill him. And I'll get to the movie. The actual Godzilla vs. Hedorah movie. Basically, as I said, Hedorah, alien that came from a dark gaseous nebula of the Orion, landing on Earth, on a comet, and began to feed on the pollution. Eventually, as it got larger, Godzilla took notice, and it decided to. Godzilla was like, "I'm not gonna have that." So, Godzilla decided to go out and face it. As soon as it made landfall, they went through at least 3 rounds with each other. The first round, clearly Godzilla. I mean,
Makes sense.
Look at that height.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I don't remember this scene. Yeah, no, I think I only saw the very end of this movie.
Which means you probably didn't see round 2. Because
No, because I don't remember any of this.
round 2, so basically, as it would come back in its flying saucer form, spraying half of Japan, spraying a huge area of the city with sulfuric acid, killing 1,600 people, injuring another 30,000 people. That's how I knew it was bad, because they actually gave us numbers of how many people got killed. They don't usually give me that. And yeah, Godzilla did not have a good day.
Doesn't look like it.
The sulfuric so surprisingly enough, yeah, even Godzilla does not like breathing in sulfuric acid.
Yeah, I can imagine that would probably sting a bit. Even for his regenerative power. Wait, does he have his regenerative powers in the Showa era, or is that later on?
He does technically have. Well, I'll put it this way: he get maimed in the final fight. He lose his eye, and his hand is melted down to the bone. And yet, the next movie, he's fine.
Okay, fair enough.
In fact, depending on how you look at it, there's some scenes I swear it looked like his hand grew back. I can't tell whether it's bad editing or he legit grew his hand back.
I mean, it could be both.
It could be both. So I don't know. And of course we get to the final round, which is round 3, where Hedorah at this point finally evolved to his
Mega evolution form?
Yeah, well, they call it perfect form. I call it is bipedal form when it's on 2 legs.
Does it have a tail?
Yes.
Okay. Did anyone try throwing a Pokeball at it?
They did try throwing fire at it.
Okay, if Ash had just come up with a Pokeball, we could have saved this whole movie.
So it's very again to tell you how trippy this movie is. Remember how I said that they tried throwing fire at it?
Yes.
So to give a little bit of context, for some stupid reason, some of the main characters decide to have a party on Mount Fuji. Because it seemed like Hedorah's gonna destroy the world, so what should teenagers do? Let's have a party on the mountainside before the monster get there to destroy it.
That's actually the most believable part of this entire
It's so
movie.
believable, and that speaks volume about the state of humanity. But anyway, when Hedorah do show up, what do they decide to do? Let's take some torches and toss the torches at this giant, 60-meter tall monster. Because clearly, that's gonna stop it. It was enough for the monster to take a look at them and cover them in slime and kill them all.
That sounds about right. On a side note,
Okay.
they were just going to throw torches at a giant monster, right?
Yes.
Why did they have torches?
So since they were out at Mount Fuji, it's in the middle of, pretty much the wilderness. So they had like little braziers with torches in it, to light up the area where they were having the party.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I mean, tiki torches might as well, right?
No, this was straight up a brazier.
Yeah, got it. Okay, sure, why not?
So not even tiki torches. They straight up. I even thought like, why did they bring? Who had the braziers? Who's the teenager who had access to braziers?
Right.
Who's that teenager?
Well, lucky for them, sulfuric acid's not combustible.
No, but they probably wish it was. Getting smothered to death in sludge.
Yep.
And melted is probably not a good one. Namely, and what ultimately happened is the JSDF, the Japanese Self-Defense Force, because Godzilla is not winning this fight. It's not going in his favor. He tried to punch it and his hand melt. The thing jumped over and hit him in the face with some slime and blinded him in one eye, and then he got knocked into a hole and was being smothered to death by sludge. So
I have to say that's not the greatest way to go.
Yeah, no, Godzilla was not having a good fight in this movie. He was not having a good
No,
time.
it doesn't sound like it.
And what happened was the Japanese Self-Defense Force set up these giant, and this is probably what you saw, Archimage. They set up these two giant electrodes. Electrodes. I hope I'm
Electrodes?
Electrodes, yeah. They set up two giant ones, basically giant walls of them, and they were going to use the electricity to dry it out.
That's where I came into.
And basically what happened was there was a fuse problem on it, and they couldn't power it, and somehow Godzilla powered it with his atomic breath. You're the electrical engineer. I'll let you tell me how that works.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that. When I mean, I know how radiation can power electricity, but it's not that way.
Atomic breath is apparently enough to.
Well, maybe if the atomic breath was carrying a electromagnetic field around it, it could theoretically induce an electromagnetic field in a, not in a transistor, a transformer, and then generate power, but you'd have to, shoot it away from it and hope it, goes off to the side by it to generate it. And why am I trying to figure this out?
Because, Godzilla shot it straight at it, and it shot electricity back at.
Okay, yeah, bullshit Godzilla logic. Why am I actually trying to figure this out?
Okay, well, speaking of bullshit Godzilla logic, this is also where we get one of the best bullshit Godzilla logic of all time. Do you know Godzilla
God,
can fly?
this is where this is from?
This is where this is from. For those on Spotify, I just put up a screenshot of Godzilla using his atomic breath to propel himself through the air.
Huh.
That's as ridiculous as you think it is.
Okay, yeah, I didn't watch this movie all the way. I must have only seen the very end of it.
You will remember Godzilla flying through the air
No, I
to
would
tackle a
remember
monster out of the sky.
I remember him flying through the air just because I saw the ridiculous scenes of him flying through the air. But, you know, that and his gravity-defying drop kicks.
That was in Godzilla vs. Megalon.
Yeah, I remember. It's still no less stupid.
Well, now we know how he can do it.
No, it doesn't. No. It makes less sense. The drop kicks make less sense than this. I'm trying to think if that's correct. Like, which actually makes less sense. Does this make less sense, or the drop kicks make less sense?
Well, anyway.
No, the drop kicks make less sense. I'm sticking with that.
Okay, you haven't seen this. Anyway, once Godzilla fly and knock him out of the sky, he drags him back to the Electroids, and he juiced them up, and he dried the monster out, and then he rips the monster apart and continue to dry it out, and then pretty much return home. And then it just kind of a PSA announcement of, yeah, we probably shouldn't pollute as much because it could happen again.
I don't know why, but I think in real life, if this happened, people would actually just pollute more as a fuck you to the monster.
They probably would.
Yeah. We live in very smart generational times.
I try not to think about it. I really try not to think about it.
Yeah. That's probably best.
Let's see. Some final notes about Hedorah before we close off the episode. The noise of Hedorah is recycle rolls from a Ultraman monster and a Toho monster. The Ultraman monster is called Kimula.
Okay.
And the Toho monster is Ebera, the giant lobster. We haven't got to him yet.
So just to be clear, the pollutant sludge monster, his voice is made from recycled monsters?
Yes.
You don't see the irony of that?
Oh, no, I see the Paul. It's also recycled from two other monsters. Gizora, a Toho cuttlefish kaiju I didn't even know they had. And Garan from Ultraman.
Okay.
Another little trivia. They were going to do a sequel to this movie that was going to be set in Africa.
Oh God! Could you imagine all the blackface?
Probably why they canceled. Couldn't get enough black paint for it. That was so horrible, but
it might not be inaccurate.
It might not be inaccurate.
Or maybe they'll do what the original 1930s or 1940s Phantom did and just have a bunch of white people in Africa.
One other thing is, Hedorah got one of the first. He was the first kaiju to make Godzilla visibly bleed in a movie.
Nice.
So, again, to further illustrate, he came pretty close to knocking out Godzilla.
Damn, all the things that Godzilla would lose to.
Hedorah,
well, not lose, but come close to.
Hedorah is also the second alien monster to fight Godzilla, the first being King Ghidorah.
Nice.
Other than that, that's pretty much it about Hedorah. We won't see him again until like the Final Wars era, and even then he'll just, well, he's only on screen for like 2 minutes before Godzilla ice him. But that whole movie is literally watching Godzilla take. It is a boss rush movie of Godzilla trying to knock out every Toho monster in an hour and a half movie period.
That makes sense.
So, anything about Hedorah? Oh, just Godzilla's 70th birthday, since it is his. We gotta get that cake back up there. We gotta give it to the big G. Turn the big 70.
Well, first of all, happy birthday to him.
Yeah, we gotta give it to him.
Like, he has survived a long ass time. I mean,
Oh yeah.
like the only movie franchise that's still going is like James Bond.
And I think like James Bond. Well, I know for a fact I don't know if James Bond have this, but Godzilla do have a place in the Hollywood Walk of Fame with the stars.
That's James. I don't know enough.
I don't
about
know if James Bond do. I know
that.
Godzilla do.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
especially considering Hollywood it's Japanese of all things.
Yeah, no, a Japanese monster. Godzilla has I think he has a footprint. I know for a fact he has a star on the Walk of Fame. I believe that they actually got one of the suit actors or something to come in to give their footprint for it.
Nice.
So yeah, no, he's a big monster. And maybe the next Godzilla movie we'll see him on a walker. That would be awesome.
Right. When are they making the next Godzilla movie?
The next Godzilla movie, which one? The sequel to -1 or the legendary one?
Both.
I think 2025 is gonna be the earliest, late 2025 for probably Legend. I think Legendary is going to beat -1 out. Just because of how big of a movie studio they was, and I think they started filming for the sequel movie a whole lot sooner than -1 did.
I can see that. By the way, and again, Hollywood, to all of your nonsensical, overhyped, emotional movies, beaten out by a movie about a giant monkey and a lizard. Ha!
Oh, did it beat off a lot?
Oh yeah, no, like
Because I know -1 beat it was the first Godzilla movie to get an Oscar again in a long time.
no, like a lot. No, people, like a lot of Hollywood people were pissed that a lot of their pretentious, preachy movies didn't do as well as a movie about a freaking ape and like radioactive lizard fighting each other.
Well, yeah, of course.
Like it might not have killed at the Oscars, but it killed at the box office, and in the end, that's what matters.
Well, which do
I don't
I
care what
want to
anybody
see?
said.
A bunch of whiny, bad dialogue movies, or a movie about a giant lizard, a giant atomic lizard fighting a giant atomic monkey? I know which one I want to see.
And the people responded the same way, and Hollywood cried about it.
Good.
Good. Maybe then they'll start making some quality movies. Hey, again, like, Hollywood for sucking, just picture this. Keanu Reeves, a very talented actor, has said no to Star Wars and no to Marvel, but he said yes to a 3D Hedgehog.
Oh, yes, he's going to be Shadow in the new Sonic 3.
And we're all thrilled and excited about it.
I want to see that so badly.
That's what everyone is excited about. Keanu Reeves playing a hedgehog. Like Star Wars, Marvel, we don't care about. But Keanu Reeves is a hedgehog. That's what we're excited about. Keep that in mind.
I want to see that movie.
Who doesn't?
Well, apparently, some of those Hollywood people.
Those Hollywood people are schmucks. Pretentious, narcissistic, self-absorbed, over-bloated schmucks.
Zed, anything you want to add to?
No, I'm good.
And we even got I know this isn't our mythical monster podcast, but we even got a little Pokemon in here with Grimer.
Oh
and
yeah,
Muck.
we did.
Yeah, with Grimer and Muck.
We got to see their Mega Evolution.
Yeah, the final
Yeah.
evolution.
That would be hilarious if.
Ironically, he did get a Gigantamax form that was probably very close to that.
Yes, actually.
It would actually be funny if Pokemon in some way was inspired by that.
No. I'm thinking of Garbodor. I'm thinking of a different one.
So.
But it was very similar to that.
I believe the Tentacruel episode where they had giant Tentacruel come into town, start knocking over buildings. I think that would inspired by some of the kaiju movies.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely was.
Wasn't that episode banned for some reason?
Yes, because of 9/11.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I remember a few of the banned episodes were that one, the one where the polygon and the flashing lights.
Yeah, giving people seizures.
Yeah, the Porygon one was banned for seizures.
And the one where they go to the beach because Jesse give himself... James give himself inflatable boobs.
Yeah.
Which, I wanted to see that one because that seemed funny as hell.
I'm not going to lie.
And the Safari Zone episode because they had guns.
Oh, yes, and the Safari episode because they had guns in it.
Okay, so the Safari episode was the only one that pissed me off because when I started watching Pokemon and that came on where that episode where Ash had a bunch of different Pokemon. He said most of these are Tauros he caught in the Safari Zone. I'm like,
you never knew why.
Yeah, when the hell did Ash go? When the hell did this happen? I kept like going back looking.
And you couldn't find. No, the same thing happened to me. I could never figure that out. And that always drove me crazy, especially since he used one of those Tauruses in one of the Pokemon leagues to win.
Exactly, and I was like trying to figure out, like, when did he get this? And like, I realized, okay, he had to have gone to the Safari Land at some point, but I could never find the episode. It drove me nuts. And then it's like, then I watched that YouTube video of the banned episodes. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why.
I guess.
Like, finally.
To bring this full circle, since we got way off topic, we will be doing some episodes because I floated with the guys of doing some episodes where to mix things up, we may do a couple episodes where we throw Godzilla into a different universe, and it won't just be Godzilla. It'll be random. It could be Godzilla. It could be some of the aliens from Godzilla. It could be different kaijus from Godzilla, just to see how they behave and work in a separate universe. It could be the Pokemon universe, it could be an anime universe, it could be a comic universe, it could be something like a Doctor Who universe. That would be
all
interesting.
Sounds fun.
The Doctor Who one I'm now thinking about.
No, that sounds fun. We'll have to actually try to watch these things.
So and of course, even for Zed, I'm gonna get I say put Godzilla in one of the Personas universe.
That will be fun.
Zed's now trying to think which one can they survive.
What do you mean? Which one can survive? Who survive?
Because I'm wondering how Godzilla would do in the Persona 5 universe.
He's dead.
He's dead. Oh, okay. Jeez. Now I gotta find a version.
I'd like to point out that these are people who are able to use deities as personalities in their head and use all the powers that come with it.
Okay,
He's
so
dead.
question, does that work only in the Persona world or the real world?
Yeah.
Okay, it only works in the actual world of the Personas with their powers. If we're talking about, no, he's in reality, then yeah, everyone else is dead.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, that's what kind of confused me with the Jotaro thing, was like, how did
But
Jotaro
also,
get into
at that
real world?
point, they're just in the real world with real physics, and then it means nothing.
See, this was something we gotta get to in that episode. We'll get to, them going in, invading Godzilla heart. Oh, I should say his palace to steal his heart.
Oh, Godzilla Palace. What would that look like?
Actually, I have an idea what that would look like. There's a comic about it.
I guess I'll figure out how that's gonna work.
There's a comic about it. Godzilla goes to
gotta
hell.
Be kidding.
Yeah, Godzilla goes to hell is the closest attempt I can think of what a look into Godzilla mind would look like. Because essentially, him going through heaven and hell is kind of a reflection of essentially his worst nightmares.
Godzilla has nightmares?
I mean, he went to hell, so hell had to try to figure out something for him to be afraid of.
Like what? Mrs. Godzilla?
Yes, actually.
What the fuck?
We'll get to that. Oh man, that's gonna be a good episode. We definitely need to do an episode like that, Godzilla Persona.
How is it whenever I make jokes, somehow it's exactly what it is?
So there we go. Good things to come soon.
Okay.
Anything before we end this episode?
Now I'm imagining some weird Lola Bunny like Godzilla and like like a female Godzilla. Why? Why did you put this idea in my head?
Oh, this is gonna be this is gonna be great. Okay, we'll end it off here. See you guys next time.